Everybody, it is March 20th, 2025 at 9 o'clock a.m. We are here for negotiations with our local police union. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Before we get started, if we could all introduce ourselves. Marisa is taking minutes for us, so she knows who everyone is. I'm Heather Buchanan, Human Resources Director.
Jared Johnson, City Attorney.
I'm Kaylani Teeter, Civilian Vice President.
Ryan Smith, Secretary.
Sean Peterson, President.
Danny Warren, Vice President.
Matt Schutz, support, I guess. I don't know. They said, hey, will you come? Yes, I will come.
How would you guys like to start?
This is obviously our first time, so I'd kind of just lean on you to get us going and see where you want to go with it, and we can kind of just go from there.
So normally we trade. This year I popped our proposals up in a PowerPoint so I can both show it on the screen. So if any of your members are watching, they can see what we're talking about.
Okay.
And then I also have it for you hard copy.
Okay.
If you're okay, we'll just get started with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, did I say, did you give him permission?
I did.
I figured you were following that. I said,
I did. I followed along. All right, so the first item we have, this is just the items that we had an MOU during this contract. We kind of tend to forget about these because we're now doing them, but they're not a contract. We just like to make sure we all remember what those are. Even if there are changes to these items later on, we'd all like to start from the same spot. So in the MOU we had in April of 22, on Article 7, we added a Section C addressing sworn officers promoted prior to this contract. Article 10, we corrected parking enforcement and code enforcement to ordinance enforcement. We added Juneteenth as a recognized holiday. And then on page 2, we adjusted the accruals on sick leave. We rounded up. And that is it for that item. It's just, we tend to forget about these at the end and then we have to shuffle to get them back in.
Sure.
Rob. Turn right here.
Did you keep yours? Okay.
sorry.
Making sure you kept one.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Okay.
That's the one.
Okay.
So as we go through these, we can answer questions you have right away. We can have dialogue at the table, or you can take notes or just put them aside, and then when we caucus or we meet next, we can address those depending on what you prefer.
I don't have any questions about that. Simple language cleanup. Same, yeah.
All right.
So I don't have any questions on it right now.
City Proposal 2 is an amendment to Article 7, which addresses compensation, Section 2, specific to K-9 officers. We're not asking for any changes to that compensation. What we are asking is a paragraph that's recommended under the Fair Labor Standards Act and the Department of Labor, clarifying kind of what that compensation addresses. This has become one of the bigger items that's been litigated in the last couple of years, mostly back east. We just wanted to make sure that we had accompanying language in our contract.
So this isn't changing anything, it's just explaining
Yeah.
why we're giving that. Is that correct?
That is correct.
It's just describing the care of the dog off duty and
I didn't realize this was such a litigious thing.
Did
You just have 3 canine officers or prior that want to make sure.
Yeah, unfortunately, you guys come very experienced in this one for me. And I only remember Sean's dog, and he was kind of grumpy.
He wasn't that grumpy.
was
He just
grumpy.
liked to bite.
I recall many workers' comp claims on that dog. I did a bunch of research on best practices for compensation for canine officers. It is all over the place. So I didn't bring any changes to that function.
Okay.
Have any issues with that? Any other questions? So does the first line here change essentially the selection and promotion? Where it says that the city maintains discretion to assign a sworn officer a canine. Does that differ from our current practice? Okay.
Yeah, that's concerning.
But I mean, if this is.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be giving this to the chief. Are these extra ones for the chief? Is that what they're for?
Nope, I didn't know if you, sometimes you guys take notes and sometimes you want clean ones for your files. Also, I'm never sure exactly how many
Maybe
people
we'll
are
just,
showing
yeah,
up.
we'll keep that one for our files. I like it.
All right, up next is City Proposal 3. This is an amendment to 2 articles, Article 4 and Article 7. I struck all the old language rather than try to edit and just put the new language in. Article 4, Section A is about union dues. Currently, we pull your dues twice a month. With us rolling to a new financial system, we are trying to standardize all of our fees and stuff that come out. So working with payroll, they've asked that we have that pulled from the first paycheck of each month. So both unions are on the same cycle. And then Section C is moved from another area of the contract, Article 7, Section 11. One of the things we've really tried to clean up in our processes is transparency around the costs of the contract. Right now, we pay this exactly as it lists. What we are trying to do is account for it by person during salary projections. So when we would look at the cost of an officer, we would see that 25% cost. Doesn't change the benefit. It does change how you sign up for the benefit.
So on Section A, when you're talking about taking it out the first paycheck, would that mean that both sets of dues would come out just
Yep.
one check? And it would
One
be
check,
once a month?
the first check of each month.
Okay. Based on this, would we need to fill out new?
Starting in open
Deduction
enrollment
forms.
in August, we would have a sign-up form,
Okay.
and that would set it up for fiscal year '26. The less moving pieces we have on the administrative side, the less chance for errors.
Sure.
with the new language added to section C, would the city be assuming responsibility for the legal enrollments then?
It would continue to run as it currently exists process-wise, except for how people opt into the plan.
Okay.
Because I believe the police department, Roger, you guys pay that bill, right?
That's in our budget, yes.
I know. Well, these two.
Does this applies to both union dues and our legal defense dues would all just be once a month?
And that's just with the new finance system is,
Yeah,
it's just easier.
less chance of error. But we tend to go through payroll clerks fast these days, so
Sure.
we're trying to standardize some of our practices to make it easier.
Okay.
We have a lot of ad pays that take manual adjustment in the system rather than having a standardization. It proposes challenges.
Okay.
The new system is better than the current system, but we're just not quite there yet.
And that's expected to take effect, are we thinking
We're
in
hoping
August?
this fiscal year.
Okay.
Yeah, currently they can sign the paperwork anytime that they choose to, and then I submit it.
So this would make it so that if they wanted legal defense, they would only be able to do it within the first 30 days during the annual enrollment.
It would run like all other benefits. So, new hire, qualifying event, or open enrollment.
Any questions on that?
No.
So functionally, I'll have some questions for what that'll look like.
Yeah.
Whether I'll be managing the forms or not at that point.
Great. City 4 adds one line. This is, I think, the easiest one other than the MOU. We would just like to add to the contract that a list of union leadership will be provided to HR by January 15th of each year. You guys tend to promote out of union leadership, so sometimes it's hard to keep track of who you need to reach out to.
Okay.
Before I hand out 5, I would like to explain 5.
Okay.
So, no, that's not the right terminology. Here we go. So we're into Article 8, which is FLSA work period and overtime pay. One, I'm adjusting civilians from being called non-sworn to civilians. Sometimes it's better to be something than not something. Also, we're addressing that all members of the bargaining unit would be non-exempt. So you have currently 2 exempt positions in the department. They would be converted to hourly employees and compensated for hours worked rather than being on the exempt scale.
That would be
Mindy and AJ. So your records supervisor and your dispatch supervisor.
Okay.
Also, and it's applicable now in the handbook, we just wanted to make sure that it was understood here as well. Bereavement time is not considered in your FLSA for determining overtime. It's already in practice. And then at the end, we added just the most common question we get from especially people who work different shifts or have step up is how does blended rates work? So we've just included Fair Labor Standards Act language on what a blended rate is and how that affects the overtime calculation. It doesn't change anything, it just explains how that is done.
So with Mindy and AJ, what, outside of switching from essentially salary to hourly, is that correct? Is there any other major changes that would occur for them?
They would lose their administrative time, but then they would be eligible to earn overtime or comp time. The FLSA rules are frequently shifting these days. Those two positions haven't been impacted yet, but it is just a matter of equity is what we were looking at.
And I assume their hourly rate has been adjusted based on the salary.
They have an hourly rate. It's hard to have bargaining unit members with different rules because there's no way to have a contract that addresses all the oddities that creates.
So B and C, we're just treating bereavement, we're just adding it in because.
It's already treated that way because you guys are subject to the handbook. It's
Okay.
just adding the clarity to the contract.
Okay.
Okay.
It's hard to know sometimes which document to go to.
Sure. And just for clarity, you're saying so the blended rate's just explaining what we already do, there's no change.
Correct. There is no change to the overtime processing rules. But you're one of the few departments that does have blended rates frequently. Because it's hard sometimes to explain that just because you worked overtime as a step up doesn't mean you get overtime off of the higher rate of pay.
Questions on that?
Not right now, the only, I guess just making sure that if they go switch over, we're not shorting them.
Yeah, you'd have to check.
That would be my only concern. And talk with them.
Yeah. No other questions on that? Okay.
City 6 is amending Article 1. We list the documents that are currently applicable, CBA, R, and a police department policy. We're actually ordering those in which way they are applicable. Currently, it's kind of a free-for-all over what controls. That would be the CBA, regardless of what's listed elsewhere. This just puts them in order in which they are applicable, so we know which document to go to for a specific answer rather than having to hope that the 3 or 4 match.
Okay. So it's just saying which one supersedes the others.
Yes.
Okay.
Just to be fully upfront, we are bringing sections of the PAR to move back into contract.
Okay.
City Proposal 7 saddens me, but the reality is, under Article 15, the Enhanced EAP Program, the union hasn't had their mandatory visit met in over 4 years. We're at less than 50%. Most years we're at 30%. So we're spending money on a benefit and we're in violation in the contract in both breaths. So we are looking to remove the Enhanced EAP Program from the police department. You would still have access to EAP, the standard program. You would just no longer have the mandatory visit, which reduces our cost from $228 a year down to $41.88 per person. And I have reporting if you'd like to see it.
We've talked about that kind of already. I think we're pretty on board with it.
But this does not take away the 20 visits per incident for the,
You would fall under the city's standard plan,
which is what?
I believe 10.
Temper incident.
I'd have to pull exact language before I could give you an exact answer. I don't want to give bad information.
No, you're good.
City Proposal Number 8 addresses Article 19. We would like to standardize the amount of Social Security replacement. Currently, members are allowed to opt in between 0 and 6%, and then the city matches between 0 and 6.2%. We would like a mandatory enrollment of 6%. In the bottom right of your sheet shows your current enrollment levels based on fiscal year, so 25, 24, 23.
Which ones?
25 is the one closest to, is the one with 80 at the top.
Okay.
People or 80%?
That's 80 people are enrolled at 6%.
Okay. And you said 25 is which?
Is the one with the 80.
Okay.
And this is to just the reasoning.
Twofold. One, it makes processing easier because everyone goes into the same percentage. And two, it's disheartening to see members missing out on a benefit.
Sure.
It's just, they're leaving money on the table, and we all know retirement's not getting cheaper. We just hate employees to miss out on that opportunity for the money.
So with this being a mandatory, would it be taken out of like
Everyone
the
would be
annual?
automatically enrolled at the 6% and the
So
city's
it's not something
6.2 match.
We would do it.
You can go above the 6% for your own personal choice, but everyone would have to be in at 6.
The minimum would be 6.
Okay.
But for those, okay. City still matches 6.2.
Yes.
Essentially, contribution doesn't change, but you don't have a choice anymore.
Correct.
Pretty much.
But you could do more,
Which you still can.
yeah.
I have to leave for a doctor's appointment.
You're good.
Okay.
Do you guys want to take a quick caucus, or are you good to keep going?
I'm fine to keep going.
I'm good.
We're good to keep going.
Now you made Kaylani sit all the way down here at the end of the table
You
by
can come over here,
herself.
Kalani.
City proposal number 9 amends Article 15. It is also one of the sections where we have pulled language from the PAR back into contract. So if it's in green, that talks about step increases. I didn't delete that. It's just moved to another section of the contract. So we would only be talking about probationary and introductory periods here. So I don't want you to think I took out step increases. I just moved that to another section. So I broke down the length of probation or introductory periods based on type of position, just so it's easier for employees when they look for their positions. Oops, one too many. Extension of the introductory period. This is something that we have had more questions than I anticipated in the last couple of years. The chief currently does have the right in the PAR and the handbook and the CBA to extend probation. This just puts a little bit more guidelines on it so people understand what that means. It can be defined as defined in the chart above. HR does review those, so the chief or your management does a very good job explaining why that extension is occurring. That would then go in a written statement and put in the personnel file so the employee can see that at any time. The area that we do tend to run into a little bit of gray in is, can your probation be extended if you have an extended leave of absence? So that's what the second paragraph here is adding. If you're unable to complete the functions of the position due to a workers' comp claim, light duty for a personal injury, FMLA, ADA, an unpaid leave of absence, or vacation and comp, if more than 80 cumulative hours for anything with an asterisk, their probationary time may be extended by the length of the leave. The concern usually is when we promote somebody and then they go out for like 12 weeks on a personal injury or workers' comp, we lose that time to assess them in their new position and give them active feedback. So we are looking to add that paragraph in. And then on the second page, the language in blue is the language we have moved over from the PAR. Again, just trying to get everything kind of in one spot so you can find it once, not 3 times. You will see other sections of the PAR. I'm going to try and bring those more in a cumulative effort just so you can see all the sections we're moving rather than a piece, but this tied right into the probationary period, so we wanted to make sure it was all presented together.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't our PAR for promotions, didn't it go down to 6 months?
Yeah, we bumped that back up.
For what reason?
Well, it kind of ties into our later comp proposal.
That you haven't given us yet?
Nope.
Okay.
Just so I can write on my notes, what proposal is that number? Do you remember?
Which one?
The one for the probation period. Going from 6 to 12 months for the promotion.
No.
Do you remember?
So we're addressing probationary periods, and I've adjusted based on what our compensation proposal will be, but I don't have hard facts on that for you yet.
I guess proposal number, so I can, just for my notes, so I can write down, because I put later proposal,
Yeah,
to
for
kind of
comp.
explain that, yeah,
But I don't have a proposal number on it.
okay. You don't, okay.
It's an ambiguous mess on my desk right now. That's what I have for today.
Okay. I mean, we've got all of our proposals. I don't know what you want today, but.
Whatever you want to hand over, we're happy to take.
Okay.
You want to do one at a time?
Yeah. We brought 5, just in case you
That's
had
it.
more people that came. I don't know if you want all 5 or if you just want the 2 of you.
We need 3,
Okay.
4.
You get one? Yeah. Just put the extras right here. You wanna go over that one?
I don't know. Do you want us to go over them as we give them to you, or?
However you'd like to proceed is fine with us.
Okay.
Just wanna do a quick explanation.
Yeah. So our first proposal is just a new pay plan. Ultimately, what we did was we'd like to, going forward, be able to match years of service for lateral officers.
Okay.
Ultimately, I'd like to match about what Idaho Falls is doing. And what they're doing is 10 years, they'll match up to 10 years of service and put you up to year 10 on the pay scale. In doing that, I took the pay scale and I based the 5% from patrol to corporal off of step 10 so that lateral officers aren't making more than a corporal. I left everything else the same other than adding a 5% increase from year 5 to 6, because that's where we talked that you statistically lose people. Other than that, it's just got a 1.5% increase per year, and we've got a 4-year plan.
COLA, right,
Yeah, 1.5% COLA per year for 4 years. So. And then like I said, everything else stayed pretty much the exact same, other than we added a step 11 and 12, and those just have 1.5% increases in each of those steps. The way we tried to outline every proposal for you is what exactly we're proposing, the justification for it, the suggested red line contract language, and then any costs that we could figure. This one, I am not good. I'll be honest. I'm not good with the word and how it works with the red line language. So I just basically redlined all the previous pay plan stuff and then just included it in your folder. So I couldn't get it to insert properly without screwing the whole thing up. So
Red line's good for data, it's not good for reading.
yeah, it was quite fun to deal with. So that's that one. It also proposes to get rid of third and second class. We don't see a need for having second and third class officers. We'd like to just hire everyone
We
as
agreed.
first class. So
I can tell you, we agree right there on that one.
yeah, we don't see a need for it, and I think it helps recruitment because it starts out our starting wage a little bit better than what they would have to do over the course of 2 years. So it also proposes the non-competitive corporal, and then I'll just let you read it, but it goes through what we would expect as requirements to get to the corporal position. Again, we believe that that will help with our retention so that people have additional steps to get to before they would have to take a competitive promotion test. I think that was pretty much what I proposed, right?
Yeah. Lateral officer, corporal, talks about the retention recruiting, but that's,
In that proposal, you'll see that there is a chart of basically officers' names and what we would expect it to cost. I don't know if yeah, so it printed out, you'll see darkened names on there. Those are the people that we would expect that would be eligible to do that non-competitive. So those are the names, and that's where we would see them screen going up. So those are the highlighted people in each year.
I got two.
You got two.
You have any questions about that?
I'm gonna need some processing.
So I get it,
Yeah.
but right now,
I mean, I can cost things, but not at the table like that.
no. Okay. Ready for two?
Why not?
Okay.
You led with the big one, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just
You wanted
just
to
how
break me early.
it was just how it was ordered.
Do it
So
fast, pull off the Band-Aid.
we figured you'd need time, so we just figured we'd give it and go from there.
Thank you.
Proposal number 2 is a proposal to change our FTO compensation, kind of adjust it. Currently, it is $40 per day that you do it. We're suggesting to go to a per hour rather than a per day, because it doesn't equate for the people working 12-hour shifts. They're getting paid the exact same for the people working 10-hour shifts, even though they're doing it longer per day. So we think that it's a little bit more equal to do it per hour. And then we would also like to adjust it up to $9 per hour, which is a little over double what it currently is. The costs are listed there. It's ultimately we want to do it because having a qualified FTO is getting harder. I mean, it's harder to get the seasoned officers to do it. We believe that a compensation that's a little bit higher can help put them in that position. The better we retain those FTOs, the better training that we have, and hopefully that ultimately helps our retention with these officers, makes them better trained, which ultimately, if we can retain them, then we're not training them as often, and that cost goes to less, or hopefully goes away in general if we're not having to hire and train people. So.
Okay.
The other thing about that is we're trying to limit the amount of FTOs that we have. So we've tried to put it at a number. I believe right now we're trying to keep it at 15, so that it creates a little bit more competitive nature to get into that position. And if we have people that aren't cutting it, our plan is to get rid of them and then put someone that wants to it and is doing a good job in there. So.
How did you come up with the number of headcount that would be eligible to be FTOs?
That's just something that Lieutenant D. Kemper and I, who are over the FTO program, just kind of decided that that's the number that we needed, based on the current training that we have and being able to accommodate for vacations and stuff like that, and the amount of FTOs that we've had coming in, that we can work with and still be able to run a schedule.
So that you're only addressing sworn, or you're addressing everybody?
So no, that's sworn, and then
And
I don't know how many FTOs you guys have. Their numbers are in here, but I'm not sure how many they have currently.
I think we're at 13 or 14 FTOs. We only have 4 that are not FTOs right now, so.
And then on your red line under section 3, dispatch, PAC, and ATAC communication officers.
That's a different proposal. It's just happened to fall on the same sheet, so.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions about that?
None.
Three. So proposal 3 is just adding sergeants, the detective sergeants, to the on-call pay for detectives. Now that there's 4 of them back there, they've started taking a rotation just like the detectives do. So we just think that they need to be compensated the same. Nothing else changes. It's just the same 1 hour for every 12-hour period that they're on call. They're expected to stay in town, answer the phone, just like the detectives are, and come out when they're called out. So we just think that they need to be compensated the same way.
Okay.
So proposal 4 is just, we're proposing to add the narcotics detectives, street crimes detectives, and the victim witness coordinator to the detective clothing allowance. Currently, the narcotics detectives, they are plain clothes. However, they still have to attend court, have the same type of court clothes that detectives do. They are often, when they are buying regular clothes, they have to buy sizes that are too big for them to accommodate their concealed weapon. So they're even though they're buying regular clothes, they're not buying the same clothes that they wear on the street.
Or and they're also doing, right, as being undercover or being a narc, you're not gonna wear the same clothes you do
Good, I've seen half of how they dress.
in public, right? So part of that's being recognized by some of the people we deal with. And then at the same time, making sure that those clothes accommodate any equipment they have to wear. So
You want to justify street crimes too?
the same thing. Street Crimes does work close with narcs, and they do buy their own pants to do that. But they also have to buy another getup and be ready to go in the event they need to do a undercover thing or work with narcs.
Okay.
And they also have to attend court pretty regularly with the stuff. So.
And then we added the victim witness coordinator on there as well. She's often attending court, and she's the only civilian employee that does. So she's got to buy, same type of court clothing and stuff like that to be presentable, just like all the detectives do. So. Proposal 5 is just to increase the shift differential by 10 cents per shift. Currently, it is 18 cents for the midday cover shift, 46 cents for the swing or afternoon shift, and 80 cents for the midnight shift. We're just asking that it go up by 10 cents. We believe that reflects the amount of stress and increased fatigue that the midnight shifts and these late night shifts put on you, put on your family. There's several studies that have shown that it can impact your health pretty negatively. So we just believe that that's a fair compensation.
And the
to
total
work in those
cost,
shifts.
the total cost in there is on the justification.
Okay. I think there was another one that the other page that had the cost too.
Yeah, on the very back.
Yeah. Looks like it affects about 35 people. That's between dispatch and patrol.
No, he laughs as he grabs the next one. That's a bad sign.
It's just, I read it, and I know when I typed it, it just sounds funny.
I take humor wherever we can find in this process. I'm not gonna lie. I can tell you we're walking parallel roads right now, that we're just not quite on the same street.
It's all good.
Well, I can't wait to read this.
Step on probation.
No, this is just
See my shock face?
proposing to eliminate the language that says that you're not eligible for a step if you're still on probation. We don't feel like just because you're on probation, you're not doing the job. I mean, it still gives you still have the opportunity, just like you have in your other one, that you can, if you're not up to the job and you're not doing it, then they can knock you back down. But just because you're on probation, we don't feel that means you shouldn't be eligible to get your step to the next level just during that fiscal year.
There's something else I was gonna touch on.
One of the main reasons that we came up with this too is that, especially for people that are getting promoted right around the time that step comes up, we have people currently it's 6 months, but if they're getting promoted just within that 6 months, they can stay at the same pay rate for 18 months, just about, because they're not getting that step. So.
Okay.
Number 7 is a proposal to change how we do step-up pay. Currently, it says that a person who's assigned the responsibilities of the one above them, for sergeants, it's to the duties of the lieutenant. For corporals, it's the duties to a sergeant. And it says 2 or more shifts worked during their scheduled work week. We are proposing that it's just per day that you do it. Just because you're doing it one day doesn't mean you're doing any less than you are the 2 days in the work week. We're also running into the issue that if you work a Friday and a Saturday, such as the weekend shifts, then they're not getting compensation in those 2 days because they're different work weeks, even though they're 2 days right now. So. So proposal 8 is an adjustment to the vacation accrual. We would like to ultimately get rid of Schedule B and put everyone back on Schedule A, and then we would like Schedule A to just match what the fire department gets for not for their 48-hour work, or their firemen that are working those 48-hour shifts, but just their 40-hour-a-week employees, which is listed in the red line language on what they get.
So you want to match all members of the bargaining unit to the 40-hour employees in fire, or the 40-hour or the, you got it, which group of your people? Are you talking all of them or part of them, or?
All of them,
All police department employees.
all the bargaining unit. Because that's what everybody's working is 40 hours. I don't know. Are you asking? I don't know if I understand your question.
You answered it.
Okay.
Ready?
This is our last proposal. This is just requesting that we add in, this is where we're talking about that TAC and ATAC position for the communication officers. We're just asking that the TAC position, which is the terminal agency coordinator, and the assistant terminal agency coordinator, be compensated. They're ultimately the ones that take on additional duties outside their normal for ILETs, making sure people get their tests, get recertified, and get every new person certified. So it's taken a lot of extra time outside their normal duties. So this is just a way to give them some slight compensation. So we're asking for $70 per month for the TAC position and $30 per month for the ATAC position. And that was where that red line language came up that you were looking at before. And those responsibilities and duties are assigned by the dispatch supervisor.
So it's a civilian special assignment in dispatch.
Yes, they both are especially state trained and certified by the state, so they do have to maintain that certification as well.
That's all we have for today.
We'd like to caucus for 15 minutes or 20 minutes. I believe I have you guys in Paradise Conference Room. If there's someone in there, then go to Alamazawa.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So we have counters to 2 of your proposals. My control freakness requires me to address any ambiguity in contract, so that's what most of these items are. The first one is, it's our counter to your Union 3, which was on-call pay for detective sergeants. I defined them as detective sergeants, not just sergeants.
Yeah.
I also took out the reference to the exact section of the policy manual. And we corrected the word insure to ensure at the bottom.
I would like it noted that I just copied and pasted the
I would like it
previous one.
noted that I worked on this contract for years and that was still in there. It made my heart hurt. Nothing's worse than you sign the contract and then you find a typo. If you're okay with those changes, we'll TA on this item.
Okay. I'm fine with them. You guys good?
Yep. Do you need a pen?
Yeah, we're good.
I brought one for you.
I know. It's always nice to get TA number 1 done. You can give it to
Second.
Marisa. We also have a counter to Union 9, which was the TAC and ATAC. And you guys gotta stop thinking of these acronyms, because they're killing me.
I don't think we think them up.
We don't really have any standardization in the payroll system for paying something monthly. So we're proposing a per paycheck amount.
Okay.
And then my need for order and logic made the assistant TAC position half of the TAC position. That's why the number changed.
Okay.
The numbers represented, there's the per paycheck amount, and then we show what a full year looks like, and that is 26 pay periods. The definition of the TAC and ATAC would be included in this PAR.
So, that's okay to you too?
That's better.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we can send that one too.
And I'll just stand here and wait so you don't get to get up. I already walked back there.
It's all right, I need my exercise. Thank you.
You wanna go over these? So,
Those are the items I have to respond to right now. Do you
Okay.
have any questions or responses on ours?
Yeah, I think we are good with proposal 1 as is, so we can TA that.
So the MOUs?
Yeah.
Give me yours. I
Yes,
wrote,
please.
yeah, I wrote in the wrong spot.
You want me to come up there this time?
No, I'll walk.
One of those pneumatic bank things.
Yeah.
That's about what we need.
Just get a conveyor belt between.
Proposal 2, we were good with as is as well. We'll TA that one.
The K-9 officers.
Yeah.
So Marisa, this will be 4.
I feel bad you're doing all the walking.
That's okay. I'm not coming off shift. I'm actually on my shift. So I spend 9 hours a day at a desk. It's awful.
We had a question just on proposal 3, the legal defense fund dues
Okay.
and stuff. Is the city, and I don't know if this is a question that can even be answered, but I guess our concern is that these get taken out and then is insurance working that way too? Like, is everything going to start going that way? Okay.
No, medical insurance will remain your first and last paid check.
That's our
each
only
month.
concern was that we have so much taken out of the first
I had
one.
to fight hard to get that split between 2. I don't want to go back.
Okay.
Well,
I guess that's just the
That's a
concern.
huge
We're talking
financial hit for
$50
employees.
versus
189.
hundreds of dollars.
other than that, yeah,
Yeah.
if that's the case, then we don't have an issue with that, right?
No, yeah, that was just
So
the
we'll
only
accept
concern.
that. Yeah.
No, that would be really hard. It's 5 now?
Five less than 2 hours.
If I typed faster, we would have been in here a lot faster.
Proposal 4, do you, just looking at this, do you have a specific person in, it just says the city with a current list of stewards. Do you have a specific person you want listed in there or?
Just the yellow line. Annually, you need to send something to HR.
Sorry, that's my bad, I guess. Okay, so we're fine with that too.
I won't forget to stand here and record this time.
I don't mind getting them too, so.
Maurice is just excited that she doesn't have to track these over multiple meetings.
Proposal 5, talking about the civilian versus non-sworn, and then bringing all of our employees to the non-exempt status. We're good with as is. We've talked to those two and they're fine with it, so.
And are you okay including just the explanation on blended rates to
Yeah.
help communication?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Is this 7? You think I'd remember that?
Matt, did you have any questions on this one you wanted to ask?
Which one?
Just the clarification on the documents for 6.
Order.
Did you
Oh,
want to say?
no,
Okay.
no, that was just my curiosity more than that. I don't
Okay.
care.
I just want to make sure you didn't have anything you addressed. Okay, then we'll TA proposal 6 as well.
Beginning to feel like signing a mortgage.
I know, right?
Let's see if she has the numbers
Except I read the.
on the end, how many people are actually using. Didn't know if she even has
For the,
the amount of visits. Right, you know what I mean?
Seven.
Because we don't think anybody's using that many.
That was
but
8, right? See, I'm writing it
there
down
are.
now.
I'm not
And if she
numbering
has
the
those
TAs.
numbers, but I'd like to see those numbers first.
That was 8?
So on proposal 7, the
Yes.
questions, I guess, I know the mandatory yearly has not been successful. But do you have numbers, or do they report back to you how many people are taking advantage, or how many police department employees are taking advantage more than 10 per incident? Okay, they don't report that?
I'll give you a copy of what I do receive so you
Okay.
can see it. Do you each want one or just the group wants one?
We can just have
Just
one.
one for the group's fine.
Hold on.
I think we were just more curious about the extended visits as opposed to the,
We ask for very little reporting. We try to keep it as ambiguous as possible with just bare minimum coming to us. We don't want people to feel uncomfortable on what we're accessing. So our reporting in this benefit is actually not as robust as our other benefits, and that's strategic. So each of those is a different year.
okay.
also this is 2022.
This was 25.
So you have separate years.
So it says like we've been partners since like January of March of '23. As you recall, we were with Blomquist, we moved to a different vendor, we fired them, we moved back to Blomquist, so the numbering seems a little weird as you look at them.
This is so.
Yeah. It doesn't really show any visits. I mean, I still know there's 10 visits.
Yeah, I think we're probably kind of a problem.
I just wanted to make sure if we had those numbers.
Is the basic plan 10
We're short
incident then?
Were you able to
50%
get that number for sure? Is it 10?
Let me just pull that real quick. I'm stepping out for a minute.
Oh, you're good.
I don't have it. No, it's self-referral. So it shouldn't, right?
Ideally,
That's just how they're categorizing it.
Yeah. Just this at the bottom where it's saying self-referral versus
And what's it say?
annual. 73. 4764.
So it's not gonna tell us how much, just telling us how many people are utilizing the EAP program.
Well, yeah, but is this the same, like you said, is it?
Yeah. Which I don't think they'll be able to tell us that. Just
All right, so I double checked with Holly. It's 6 plus a little bit of wiggle. Anything that you're getting above 10 usually becomes diagnostic and moves to a medical treatment. You usually have a diagnosis if you're going for something strategic like that,
But it's 6 per incident.
plus a little wiggle.
Plus a little wiggle.
I can't
does
even
it say
act-
that in the?
No, I'm just telling you how this works. It's got some wiggle in there.
I don't have a problem with it.
Well, let's just table it for now and bring it back to later.
Can we table?
Of course.
So then can we look at it a little bit? So on 8, I guess if you're opting in, you would have to pay 6%. You can
Correct.
pay over that. Do you have the option to opt out completely?
No. It would be just like how dispatchers pay pay Social Security. It's a standard amount. It automatically comes out of your check.
So you're in or out, right? Like if
You're
somebody,
in.
Dane couldn't say, well, I want a 401 choice account, but I only want to pay 3%.
No, everyone would be mandatorily enrolled at 6 for sworn. And the city would match at the 6.2.
Just table that one for now.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll table that one as well, if that's okay.
We knew that one would be a little harder.
I
I mean, most people are paying into it, but
Yeah, it's just close to 20% of people that would be affected that,
yeah.
It's a big enough number that.
Yeah, you need discussion
It's
with the
concerning, and I guess,
yeah.
I don't mind the 6%, like the minimum, but at the same time,
Yeah, I mean, like me personally.
Do we have the option to just to
it's-
not
Yes, but I
participate,
don't want to
or-
take people's choice.
if
We
you
understand.
participate, here you go.
And then proposal 9, we'd just like to table until we see what you were talking about. You said there was justification for the 12 months, going back to 12 months.
So, pay plan, we are now not bringing as our first issue, because then you tend to get nothing else done, though we just cranked out an impressive number of TAs for the first meeting. FTO compensation, I can tell you that's part of, we are bringing back a cumulative proposal, which is gonna be a big giant list of stuff.
Okay.
That's included with the pay proposal. Same thing with shift differential. Vacation accrual, we have a counter proposal, but it's not ready today.
Okay.
Step on probation. I need some clarifying language adjustments before we could TA there. And clothing allowance is also part of our cumulative proposal.
Do you know what clarifying language you need? Do you need that from us? The
Nope.
clarify?
I'll
Okay.
write it.
You're, okay.
It's a little bit easier for me to read my
Sure.
mind than you. I barely get through it sometimes.
It's probably easier for you to read the clarifying language that comes from you instead of us anyway.
So I think we're very close on a lot of these. We do have an upcoming executive session with council where I can iron out some of our details. And then we should be ready to meet again pretty soon.
Okay.
They're not no's, it's just I can't respond to them
Sure.
right
No,
now.
we
sure. We
understand.
appreciate it.
We understand.
Do we, assuming next week is a no-go because of, did you tell us you were off all week? He's off all week.
He's off spring break.
And we expected that, just so you know.
Yeah,
So if we were thinking the week after,
yeah, I'll send
We're
Sean
open.
some more dates after
Okay.
this meeting. And we'll try to get it pretty fast.
Okay. That's it for today.
That's it for today.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you guys so
Thank
much for meeting with
Thank
us.
you.
We appreciate it.
And we're done at 10:56.
under 2 hours.
Yeah.
Did all right.